aside from all the questions I get about training secrets and supplements, one of the most common questions I get is what is the best muscle building system? And I've been following physical culture since way back in the day, since way before the internet, and it was just the old school muscle mags. And even then, there was so many programs to choose from, guys. So now with the internet, it's gotten insane. Everyone out here is a supposed guru, and the world has just gone crazy with all this programming. So let's get back to the basics here. You have your old school bodybuilding programs like German volume training and high intensity training. You have your more strength-centric programs like 5x5 and 5-3-1, but still you have hundreds, if not thousands, of copyrighted programs, and everyone's claiming it's the best program that you have to use and it's the only way to train. So it makes it very confusing when you're trying to choose the best muscle-building system, but the good news is that there is no best muscle-building system. I like to come back to Schwarzenegger on this and say the number one rule of bodybuilding is that there is no number one rule of bodybuilding. But still, you got to think about different variables here. For example, if you gave the most simple routine to someone with the most intensity and awesome genetics, or you gave the smartest routine to someone with mediocre intensity, who are you going to put your money on? You're going to put your money on the harder worker every time. So intensity is a factor, durability is a factor, health. There's so many different things to consider when you come into your programming, current injuries, things like that. So know your body and know what you're ready for. Know how it's time to take that step into the next phase of your training. So first and foremost, avoid dogma. This is so obvious. There's these old, rigid ways of thinking. We see how society is changing now with ideas on religion and human rights and things like that. But now when it comes to training, there's all this dogma. You see so many trainers get certified in one niche, and they train this way for years and years and years, even if they're not getting any results at all. And that's insane. I believe that's literally the actual definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So how are you going to avoid the dogma and set yourself up for long-term progress? That's a crucial element here when you're choosing the best system, because there's all these 12-week programs out there, 6-week programs, 21-day programs, and I've created a lot of these programs myself, and they are awesome, they are efficient, but you got to understand, guys, that in all honesty, a 12-week program is a very short-term goal. This isn't going to be your long-term goal. It's going to take you all the way through for the next years and years and years. Muscle building, strength training is a lifelong commitment, it's a lifelong endeavor, so why do you want to sell yourself short with just a few weeks and then spinning your wheels, hopping from program to program? So what you want to think about then, better yet, not what system, but what ideas, what philosophies can I really stand behind for the next 10, 20, 30 years? They're going to leave me pain-free and making continual gains in the gym. That's how you're going to set yourself up for the most realistic long-term muscle building gains. And that leads you to the next idea of progression. I mean, there's so many programs out there, all these 12-week programs, but they're really allowing you to see true long-term progression. So this can come in so many forms. Obviously, strength gains is an optimal form of progression, but even then, after a while, you're going to spin your wheels on these basic movements. You're going to start hitting these plateaus. So what do then? Add more sets, add more reps, shorten your rest time. Work to get harder, work to get bigger, but at the same time, know when to modify, know when to pull back, and know when to set that different type of tempo into your training program to make the most out of each workout session. So when it comes to that idea too, you have to know how to adapt and go with the flow. So some of the days you feel the shittiest might end up being some of your best, most badass personal record training sessions. And some days where you thought you were going to do okay, you might not start feeling so hot, you might start dragging ass, and you need to be able to react instantly. You need to know when to go with the flow. If something's talking, you all of a sudden you might have a tweak in your knee. Don't keep pushing for that harder set. Know when to pull back. Let's say that all of a sudden your stomach starts to irritate you. You need to know when to modify, maybe up your volume that day to set yourself up for the next training session. It's this idea of looking to the next training session, leaving something in the tank so you're hungry and wanting to come back for more. That's so often overlooked. We see these guys do this training program so they got their dick in the dirt, beating themselves down, overtraining themselves to death, and they're just burnt out. So know how to leave some in the tank, and know how to leave that room for excitement and growth, because at the end of the day, no one's making you do this. You want to do this. Keep the excitement. Don't lose that energy around your training. And finally, think about opting in recovery. Doesn't mean you need to do weeks and weeks on end of deloading. Doesn't mean you need to take weeks off to just do nothing at all and recover. But know how to optimize recovery, because the best way to recover your muscles and to get that growth is through recovery. So if you want to really get big, prioritize sleep, prioritize your rest days, know how to use active recovery on your rest days to stretch your muscles, make room for optimal recovery, optimal growth. Use these tips, guys, to choose the best muscle building system for your body. For more articles, videos, and training tips, head over to justinwoltering.com. See you there.